Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to go over some of the things I've done to set the bike up for touring. This is a 2018 model of the Z900RS Cafe. It has just shy of 22,000 miles on it, and most of those miles have been touring miles. I don't really use the bike for commuting or in-city riding. First thing I did here is install frame sliders and some case protectors in case the bike tipped over. And also one of the things I did was install a radiator guard to keep any debris outside of off of the radiator, keep it from damaging it. And just talking about the cooling system real quick. I live in most of the riding I do is in the desert, so I've ridden this bike in 120 degree Fahrenheit weather, and it has been no problem at all. I did replace the original coolant with blue ice, and that seems to help keep the engine a little cooler. The later models, I think 22 and after, come with a much larger radiator to help keep the engine a little bit cooler. But it hasn't been a problem. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about is this bike came with very little in the way of USB outlets or anything out here. They had practically nothing, so I did install a couple of I have one that's a cigarette lighter type. This is hooked up to a 10 amp circuit. The reason for that is if I ever need to use my air pump to inflate the tires, it requires 10 amps. Obviously can't really do that without the engine running, so I also have another USB 2 here to run into the tank bag in case I need to recharge the phone, camera batteries, or any other things that need to be recharged. That is all hooked up to a relay that I installed in the under the seat, and I'll show you that. I also installed a voltmeter. The reason for the voltmeter is I have a 15 amp circuit that I installed in order to run a plug for heated gear, which is right here next to the seat. And one has to be careful with that because the heated gear will draw quite a bit of power from the engine, from the alternator, and at low RPMs it actually you could see that it's not charging the battery anymore. So at low RPMs, like at stoplights and stuff, it's not good to run the heated gear. So I normally turn it off unless I'm at steady speed and can keep the voltage meter up at 14 volts. Alright, next is going to be talking about oh yeah, I was going to show you the oh, and it's locked. I have to unlock it. The relay switch, I got it from Eastern Beaver in Japan. It's very easy to install. It's right here. This is the original location of the auxiliary plug that was in here. It's only 2 amps and wasn't really very useful, so I took the bracket off, moved it over here, just kept it there just in case I needed it. And this circuit now allows me to connect more stuff. The USB port up there is 5 amps. The heated gear is 15 amps, as we said. The auxiliary lights is 2 amps, and then there's that 10 amp circuit for the cigarette style charger. So that is essentially the electrical system. As far as riding comfort, this seat tends to be a little bit on the hard side, and so this is a new seat I'm going to try, or a new cushion that I just got for more than 200 miles a day. This is kind of a hard seat, and I'm going to try this one. The disadvantage is it's added about an inch to the height of the seat, but it's easy enough to take off and put on, so that shouldn't be a problem. Other things I've done is I've installed, let me grab the key again. One of the first things I did also is I replaced the horn. The horn was, the original horn was just very high pitched and almost inaudible. I got this one and I replaced the horn here, and it's quite a bit louder. And also installed these auxiliary lights. They have high beam, low beam, and strobe. Let's see. As far as luggage is concerned, I installed the Shad SH23 hard panniers, I guess they call them, and got them empty right now. I'm cleaning everything out. Normally on this side I carry items that I don't need to get into very often, like tools, tire repair kit, tire pump, jumper, battery, and so forth. Usually this one stays locked. I hardly ever get into it. This one, when I'm camping, carries camping gear, and often needed things go into the tank bag, and my personal gear goes in this duffel, waterproof duffel bag, and this goes across the top, and I cinch it down with a ratchet type strap. So let's see what else. Oh, tires. This is the third set of tires. These are Michelin Road 6s. I've had these for 4,000 miles already. Really happy with them. I also installed come around up here, tire pressure monitoring system. It gives you the tire pressure and the tire temperature. And the one thing you have to do with those, if you do install one, is recommended that you let me get down here, that you install metal valve stems, because the weight of the sensor can put some torque on the valve stem, and it can leak, or in the worst case scenario it can actually come off, and that would be a very bad day with a catastrophic failure of the valve. So definitely recommend that if you're going to go with this, you have metal valve stems installed. Huge safety issue. So alright, the other things I've done here a little bit after the first trip, I noticed that the grips were a little bit small, and so I put these grip puppies in there. Much more comfortable now, both sides, and also reduce a little bit of the vibration that used to come in through the handlebars. This doesn't have cruise control, of course. It's not designed as a cruiser, so I have this cramp buster here that you can adjust to just put your palm on there and then relax your fingers. It's not safe to keep it there all the time except when you need it, so I take it off when I don't need it. And I have camera mount up there, and I used to have a camera mount back here. I don't film from the rear anymore. Then I have a few other mounts that I move around, but that's essentially the setup. It is the longest day I've done on this bike is 637 miles so far, but I'm planning on going further to see just how far I can go on one day. Range is about 150 miles, and that's about as long as you can go without having to get off for a break. The fairing tends to put the air right at your shoulders, so you do get quite a bit of buffeting in the helmet, especially when there is crosswinds or strong headwinds. It does take quite a bit of endurance to get through that on this bike. Let me see if there's anything else that I forgot to say. I think I covered everything. That is the Kawasaki Z900RS Cafe, and the it is a good sport touring bike. It does take some getting used to it. It's not as comfortable probably as some of the larger bikes or more specialty bikes like the Kawasaki Concord or the Yamaha FJR or the Honda Goldwing, obviously. But this is a very easy bike to own and maintain. There really isn't a whole lot of things on this bike that you have to worry about. Most of the work I do myself, again, except things like tearing into the valves and that kind of stuff. I could do it, but I don't want to do it anymore. I'll let someone else do that. Oil changes are super easy. The oil filter's right there. The oil drain plug is right there. All you need is a new crush washer, a new oil filter, and 4 quarts of oil. And it takes about 15 minutes to change the oil. And that's it. I think that's a good rundown of this bike. I'm getting ready to go cross country from Ontario to Washington DC and back, and we'll see how it goes, but it should be mechanically no issues. It's more of whether the rider can take the punishment than the bike. The bike can do it. Alright, that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave some comments if you have any questions, or if you'd like to know what parts I used and where I got them from. I'll be happy to post them in your comment. Have a great day. Thanks.